Hi Facebook Live, it's Ben. I'm back with Ben's Business Podcast episode number 23, and in this week I just want to talk about email marketing. And one of the key points I want to get across here is that the money's not in the website, the money's in the list. So I hope to achieve that within this short episode of Ben's Business Podcast. First thing I'm going to do is share this onto Ben's Business Book Club to make sure people come on live today. I have had a couple of technical issues, hence the delay. I've just moved house and I'm currently trying to set up a new studio, which you'll notice this different background here. I was almost forced to go out in the garden, but right now we're using a 3G network, so we'll see how that goes. And I've also got my tablet paired up with a HubSpot I've created for the Facebook Live here from the Wi-Fi from the phone. So I'm just trying to see if the signal's working okay. Okay, it seems to be working. I got a notification there that it's poor connection, but let me know, just send me a comment if the connection's not great. Once I've shared this into the book club, we'll get started. Just give me a thumbs up or leave a wee comment if you've came on live today. So I'll get started again. One of the points I want to get across today about email marketing is I feel that some of us have the idea of email marketing a wee bit wrong, into the position that we don't email our list frequently enough, or some people build up a list and don't email them at all. I've been there. I've got that issue of not emailing people frequently enough, but I've been taught that we should be emailing them as much as possible, because really, when you think about it, your email list should be looking forward to your information. Just like content marketing, it's very, very similar to content marketing. It's the exact same principles, really, but it's just off of the public eye. It's directly into someone's inbox that have subscribed to your newsletter, to your email list, to get more of that content. So they're more qualified than people who follow you on social media, because sometimes you can't actually see who's watching your content. Instagram stories is very valuable, and even Facebook stories shows you who's watching your stories every day, that your kind of vlog that you do. So that's very helpful, and that's almost a part of email marketing that's come into social media, which is really helpful. You can see who's watching your stuff. You actually see some of the engagement and actions they do if you've created a poll. So email is very similar. If they click on a link in an email, you can see that information through MailChimp, whatever platform you use for your newsletter. And we tend to hold back because we don't want to be a pest to people. Just like in sales, we don't want to pest too many people or become a pest to them by emailing them too much. But if they're looking forward, they've opted in, remember, going back to that video I talked about permission marketing, you've been given the permission to add them into your email list. And if they are in your email list and they shouldn't be, you're best to delete them out. If they're not even opening, you can actually see if they've opened it. You can see if they've engaged with it. If they're not doing any type of opening or engagement with your emails, you should probably delete them. And also what that can cause, and this is probably the fear of emailing too much, because people are always asking, how much should I be emailing my list? And that's really the question I'm answering here. ISPs like Gmail, AOL, and the email people who can block your emails or put your emails into the spam folder, or I think Gmail have a tab called promotions, and your emails can go directly into there, which will put a barrier in front of your customers ever seeing any of your emails coming in. So that's very important to make sure that you warm them up first. You give that value up front, and then if you want to sell something, that you can do that down the line. I've got a ratio almost like 80% of the time I'll give value, just like in my content, and then every so often I'll mention a new product or service, or services that are already existing, and within I tie it into my content, my valuable content I give away, education. So you should always educate before you sell, and we should be emailing much more frequently than most people are. I find when I subscribe to a newsletter or an email list, I stay on it because I chose carefully to get on that list. I opted in, and I'm very careful not to put my email in now because I've opted into too many before and realised I wasn't that interested, and then I've got all these emails to unsubscribe from. There is a good tool for that called Unlist, which can take you off and figure out what newsletters you're on, take you off all of them. So people have the tools to get off your email list, so you want to be giving them exactly what they're looking for and engaging with your list and asking them what they want, like the Q&A that I was doing, to find out what people are actually asking and answer those questions for them. And that's, again, ties in very closely with what content marketing is all about. You're just privately direct messaging them into their inbox. So a sort of rough idea of how much you should email per week, maybe 2 times a week. I know people will recommend, if you can, email them daily if they're looking forward to your information and looking forward to all the content you're providing them. But I recommend, for people who aren't into email marketing just now, a good way to start is, once you get them onto your list, you want to at least be emailing them twice a week if possible, and daily if you can do that. If you have the time, you can set up email courses, which are basically sequences with autoresponders that can email them, or when they opt in, it'll automatically, if you write out those emails in advance, and maybe day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 are all pure value, good free educational information. And day 5, if you're launching a product or whatever, you can do a more salesy promotional email, but let them just prepare them, build them up for that. There's actually this part called the soap opera sequence that's in .com Secrets book by Russell Brunson, which is really interesting. It's basically, you set them up, they set the stage, you give them, you tell a story, and then you give some education. You start to talk about benefits of a product you're offering, and then on the last day, you do that right hook that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, the sale, and talk about the product and actually get a call to action in place to ask them to take action. The other part I want to talk about email marketing is, as I mentioned at the start, the email's not in the website, it's in the list. And what I mean by that, just like my dad always drills into me, the money is in the list, but the fortune's in the buyer's list. And what he means by that is that the fortune in the buyer's list, people who buy from you are your customers. So that list of customers who have bought from you in the past, or the people who have bought from similar, like your competitors, or even your partners who offer similar products and services like you, they have a list of people who have bought from them. And that list there is so valuable to you because these are people who are actually spending money. You've got people who spend money, you've got people who don't spend money. So ideally you want to be emailing to a buyer's list rather than just a list of emails of people who don't spend money. Because there'll be a lot of people who take, and there's people who don't return and don't follow the law of reciprocity. And when you give so much with content marketing, you tend to get back, and people feel the need to give back by the time you eventually go and offer your product or service to them in your email or in your content marketing and do that right hook. So that's what I mean by how, like, these internet marketers have websites, but they don't use their websites to directly make the money. They use their website, as that I mentioned in a previous video, as a multimedia place where they give lots of value, and they always ask you to opt in to an email, give them your name and email. So you ideally just want to use your website to collect that data, those details, if it's just their name and email. And a tip for you is, the less you ask for in those contact forms, the more conversion you'll get, because people don't like giving away all this data. Hence all the new data laws coming in place this month. And that's what email marketing is all about. That's where the money's really made, is actually getting them onto the list. And then you can grow and build your relationship up with them. And it's, as Ryan Dice said, very similar to what my dad's drilled into me, is the money's not in the list, the money's in the relationship you have with that list. So it's about getting them onto the list, building up that relationship, and then they're more likely to buy from you. When a big difference in marketing is, as Dan Kennedy said, I've mentioned before, you're either a annoying pest or a welcome guest. And to get from that annoying pest level round from like a lazy salesman over to a welcome guest is you build up that relationship by giving that education, and to get to that level of being a welcome guest, you give them value over and over. It's actual real value that they can implement into their life, whatever it is. And eventually, when you're now welcome, you can then offer your products and services in a much better place in their eyes. The last thing is, what you don't want to do with your list is sell. Just keep using that list of customers or even prospect customers to try and sell your products and services. You have to grow and grow the relationship, build the trust with them before they're ever going to go buy from you. So again, back to that 1 in every 4 ratio eventually. But at the beginning, I like to just give loads away for free, and eventually I start to bring in that ratio of for every 4 emails, maybe one of them will be more salesy, and I'll mention a product or service that I'm offering, or even an affiliate link. So some call to actions to take on this is that we definitely look at your email list, at what you've got there, scrub and clean it, and just get people off who aren't opening your email, because you can see that data, and even segment it into different more sort of niche lists of different topics that you talk about. Make sure that you're emailing at least twice a week to the list that you already have if you don't have one. If you want to grow a list, the best first place to start is get a MailChimp account, which is a new newsletter email marketing software. Install the code onto your website somewhere, or get your web designer to do that, and get an opt-in form where they can leave the details, but obviously give them a compelling reason to opt into that, like daily free advice on internet marketing, or whatever value you can bring to them. And maybe even it can be a weekly digest of something that you talk about. And then another tool for the autoresponder, as I talked about, what I use is ConvertKit, which is great for getting people to opt in. Just like MailChimp has an autoresponder set up, so that's automated emails that you can set up as I mentioned, sequence of emails that will come in, just like Russell Brunson talks about in .com Secrets in his book. So you can set it's set up to the point where on day 1 when they opt in, you don't have to do anything. It's already set up as like a course. So it's got these 5 days of emails that are going to go out to each new subscriber, and that's a great way to bring them into your world and do a bit of persuasion in a way, indoctrination, to invite them into your world, show them your best stuff. And then they become fans, and they can't wait for your next emails to come in, or they can't wait for your product to launch at the end of the week, whatever it is you're doing with it. And that's what I use ConvertKit for. Or there's also ClickFunnels, which is also a software built by Russell Brunson, who wrote the book .com Secrets. So I hope that helps. That's email more frequently. Use your website to capture that data and start compiling your list, and start building your list with those free tools that you've got there. Thank you.